You are now in tune with
Mamba Radio.
What up, everybody? Thank you for tuning into Brown Mamba Radio. For those who don't know, my name is Jackson, and happy Aloha Friday to everybody out there. Hopefully, you guys all enjoyed your week. Hopefully, if you're an NBA fan, you survived this week. Hopefully, your team made it out all right. Because the NBA trade deadline just finished yesterday, and you know, as much hype that was surrounded around this year's trade deadline, you know, it's pretty crazy how, I mean, a lot happened without really much of anything happening also at the same time. You know, there was just a lot of big, you know, rumors going around. Obviously, the Anthony Davis sweepstakes was in full effect for, you know, the greater part of pretty much this whole year so far, and he didn't go anywhere. But I guess I'll start in with that. So yeah, Anthony Davis staying put in New Orleans at least for the rest of this year. You know, it's just, you know, obviously the biggest team affected by this was the Lakers, and don't let last night's win fool you. I mean, it was, trust me, I talked about it. It's just, that was a huge win. Like, just, I can't emphasize how big and how pretty important of a win that was for the team, given everything that they've gone through as a result of this whole Anthony Davis stuff that's been coming out. Like I said, last night's win was huge and important and all that, but don't let it be the Band-Aid that fixes what was straight up an absolute fucking shit show for the last, you know, couple weeks specifically. You know, it's just because no one looks good coming out of this whole thing. You know, just, you know, Anthony Davis, you know, looks like a big time diva, which is completely out of character for everything that he's, you know, up until this point. He's seemed like a pretty even keel, puts the head down kind of guy, and yeah, just really came off looking like I said, just like a diva, which is never ever good, especially considering that he's still has, like I said, he has a year and a half left. So for everyone that thinks he can just leave this year, he can't. He's still under contract after this year, and then it's until the summer of the 2020 summers when he can choose where he wants to go. So he came off looking bad. The Lakers, man, just everything with the Lakers. Where do I start? It's just Rich Paul and Clutch Sports probably took the biggest L. Well, them and the Lakers front office probably took the tied for taking the biggest L. Because, you know, Rich Paul, Clutch Sports, all those guys, they look, this is, if they wanted this to be kind of their, like, real power move, real aggressive, real look at us, take us seriously as a sports agency kind of move and stuff like that, they really freaking screwed the pooch. And they look really bad for not just not ending up with Anthony Davis, at least yet so far, at least not just not getting him, but they started all of this. And I know, like I said, enough people have talked about it. I know just the timeline of it all, but they really stirred all this up to try and get everything to play into their favor. And the Pelicans just said, nah, dog, like straight up. They just said no, and it makes them look so bad. And I don't know if Anthony Davis is going to would consider changing agencies because of this, but like I said, they have one job to do, and that's to do what's best for their client And they did not do that. They arguably made everything way, way worse. So I don't know I'm pretty sure that nothing's going to change and AD is going to stick with them and all that. But like I said, in most other situations, I'm pretty sure a lot of people will consider getting rid of that agent who just really fucked everything up for them. And the Lakers front office just, they look really bad and really, really dumb. And I can't even, I really, it's just really like, just so, not frustrating is not the right word, and just dumbfounding how the Lakers really handled this. Because, you know, I hate to use it like this, and you don't take it the wrong way by me saying this, but Dr. Jerry Buss, the late great Dr. Jerry Buss, has to be rolling around in his grave right now because of the way that the Lakers handled this. And I say that because every like real Laker fan knows that, you know, the biggest thing with Dr. Buss was, yes, he owned the team, and yes, he was this big, you know, personality, and he was the face of owning the team and all this and that. But his whole thing was, yes, I have the money and I'm the face and all that stuff, but I will put the people in place to do the jobs that need to be done, and I will let them do their jobs. And he let them do it, and they did it very well for a very long time. But ultimately, at the end of the day, Dr. Jerry Buss, has the final say. And like I said, a lot of, you know, real Laker fans and other people who are around Dr. Jerry Buss' whole life know that he was a huge poker player. Huge poker player. And very, very good at it. And he would take a lot of poker strategies into his negotiations whenever dealing with, you know, player movement, you know, trades, signings, all that stuff. He would take a very poker player approach to everything. And he was one of the best at it, if not the best, arguably the best, but just with just poker faces and, you know, not showing your hand, metaphorically speaking, of course, not showing your hand, not giving away any tips, not giving it any edges. And the way that the Lakers front office with Magic Johnson, with Rob Lowe, Rob Pelinka, and even Jeannie Buss and all that, they really, really showed their hand on this and really gave up that edge that the Lakers have had for so long by showing how desperate they are, or how far that they're willing to go in order to get AD, or how far they're willing to go. You know, it was a classic this was a classic poker move, you know. Rich Paul and Magic and all these, or mainly Rich Paul, you know, probably, and Magic, they've been talking for a while, you know, going all the way back to signing KCP in the first place. They signed him because he's represented by Clutch Sports, and that's this first step in order to be able to talk with Rich Paul about negotiations and working things out and stuff like that without it being considered tampering. I've talked about that before. A lot of people talk about that. So they've been doing this. They've been working together for quite a long time, and you know, they bluffed. They bluffed big time by, you know, like I said, Rich Paul and them doing what they did and creating the media storm, saying Anthony Davis wants to be traded, putting the Lakers as the front runner, and the Pelicans called their bluff. Called their bluff big time, and the Lakers just got fucking burned, man. They just got burned. And like I said, they showed their hand. They showed how far they were willing to go, and they just fucking lost. They really lost. And it's so devastating because, like I said, for so long the Lakers didn't bust. They didn't tip their hand. They didn't give away any edges or anything. They were always coming out on top, or for the most part on the right side of these standoffs. You know what I mean? On these poker hands. And you know, it's just frustrating, man, and it really sucks. And to piggyback off that, because they showed how desperate they are, and what they were, and really, getting desperate, and making their trade proposals and trade offers just more outlandish and ludicrous and crazy. All that like I said, it piggybacks where all the players who are involved in these rumors have to be just so upset and so frustrated, knowing that they were, like I said, they were just expendable like that for these, like I said, ridiculous trade offers. I mean, they were offering, the first one was just crazy, where it's like, essentially 6 for 1. You're giving up 6 things to get 1 back. And like I said, I'm not. Yes, like I said, we can talk about that, but not really necessarily right here, right now. It's just because we're talking about what happened, not what could happen or whatever. Because ultimately we didn't get them, and I know that a lot of people are saying, listen, that's if they did accept the trade request. The biggest criticism is, well, who are you going to have left? It's like, I don't know. But having LeBron and Anthony Davis on the same team, it's a pretty good starting point, if you ask me. And I think if you ask every single team if they only had LeBron and AD for the most part, and just try to figure it out from there, I'm pretty sure 100% of the teams would start with those cards that they're dealt, and figure it out from there. So it's like I said, it's just overall frustrating, and I've talked about it before. All the players have talked about it enough, but they're trying to keep the best attitude they can, as far as just them saying all the right things, in air quotes, the right things, the things that they're supposed to say in these kind of situations, where it's like, well, it's just business, and hey, at least it shows that people want me, this and that. But it's going to be really, really hard for Magic and Rob Pelinka to go down and talk to these players and win the team back with the old, well, hey man, it's just business, it's nothing personal line. Because like I said, these were just some pretty one-sided, like lopsided, crazy trade proposals. And these guys are all professional athletes who, whether you like it or not, they have egos, and they have, an inflated sense of self. And that's part of what gets them to the NBA, is having that attitude that I'm the best, I'm one of the best, I belong here. And for that kind of something like that to happen could really affect their self-esteem, and really affect it, the team chemistry. And that's also part of why I said that win yesterday against the Celtics, like, I cannot stress how huge that win was. Because if they went into Boston, and if the game continued the way that it started, where they were down by 18 at one point, and it just, like, that first quarter and a half was absolutely abysmal. They just looked like they were completely affected by, all the hoopla and the hullabaloo that was surrounding all this. And if they continued to just play poorly and got blown out for the second straight game, coming off the 42-point loss to the Pacers, I'm telling you, that would be, like, catastrophic. Like, I really don't know. I can't even, I don't even know what would have happened. That'd be so unbelievably bad that they really, like, I'm telling you, people might have been fired, stuff like that. It would have been that bad and that big of a deal. But, it's that win is the tipping point and the starting point for the team being able to rebound from this. And, it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy, that's for sure. And, it helps make that little black cloud a little bit smaller. But it's still going to be there. That little black cloud is going to be hanging over the whole team for the rest of the season. No matter what, the rest of the season, it's going to be there. And it's just going to get even bigger once the season's over and all these, trade talks are going to happen again. Specifically in July, once everyone's available to get traded and everybody's up for grabs. And like I said, this win was a great tipping point. And, as someone who's been on many, many sports teams in my day, and I've been in a situation or two where felt like, it's you against the team, or it's the team against the coaches or upper management or whatever, and you just feel like you're not wanted or whatever like that. And like I said, I'm not alone in this. It's happened. This isn't the first time this has happened. It's happened a lot of times, and in my opinion, the best way for those young guys to rebound from this, or the team to rebound from this, is for not just the young guys, but everyone else involved to just go out there, just channel all that energy, just take all that frustration, all that feeling of animosity and all that, channel it and just go out there and say, fuck it, and just ball the fuck out and prove them wrong. Show them why they're gonna make a mistake trading you. And that's what those guys came out in last night and did. For the most part, Kuzma was great. Ingram, whatever, it is what it is. But shout the fuck out to Rajon fucking Rondo. They talked about I can't remember who. I can't remember if it was who specifically brought up the story about Rondo. The other day, at practice, he sensed that the vibe was off, and for obvious reasons, and he just said, hey man, let's just play one. Challenge everybody to play 1-on-1. That turned into 2-on-2. Guys got involved, made it 3-on-3. Eventually got 4, and just got everybody involved. Got the competitive juices flowing, and it just kind of you feel like that's kind of what was helping bring the team together, and you can see it in the sideline when he's talking, they're listening, and Rondo's been doing this for a long time, and he's had his ups and downs as a leader. But like I said, it's just that competition that he has, and that natural born leader gene that he carries, where it's just going to rally everybody, and just it's perfectly culminated with him hitting the game winning shot, and everyone getting excited, everyone getting fired up for that. And like I said, it's just that's like I said, all this stuff. I can't emphasize how big of a win that was yesterday. And they got a couple games left on this little mini roadie, like I said before, the All-Star break, which is very, very, very much needed. And it'll like I said, it's just the Lakers really need this All-Star break just to take time to self-reflect, gather everything, kind of calm everything down, figure out what they got to do to rally around each other, and just go out there and just fucking hoop. That's all they got to do, just go out there and fucking hoop. So yeah, like I said, the Lakers situation happened, and like I said, it's still a lot more season left. Probably going to make the playoffs, and anytime you got LeBron out there, you got a chance to go to the finals. So hopefully, if he can do it with those shitty Cavs teams, he'll be able to do it with this Lakers team. And like I said, it's still a lot of basketball left, and a lot more ball to be played before all the trade stuff comes back. But yeah, also quickly, I also forgot, not only the Lakers look bad, but even the Pelicans are in a tough spot from this too, AD's still on the team. There's the thing about how, he's said that he wants to go here or the Lakers, and he also said maybe he wants to go to the Clippers or the Knicks or the wherever. But bottom line is he doesn't want to be on the Pelicans anymore, it seems like. And even though he's on the team still, and even though they're going to have a lot more opportunities to trade him in this offseason, the offseason's still a few months away. And with Anthony Davis's injury history, knock on wood, I'm not wishing anything happening to him, but it's just, what if he gets hurt? What if he gets hurt? What if he gets injured? It's happened in the past. It's already happened this season. He's missed some time with a hand injury. And what if he gets hurt and injured, and loses his trade stock or trade value, or whatever? He has a lot, obviously, but it just depreciates, and they aren't able to haul in a lot of young talent like they could have got with the Lakers. You know, I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm not wishing it upon him or anything like that, but it's always a possibility. And it's like I said, it's just I don't know. This is just so crazy, and I'm done talking about it. I know a lot of NBA fans are done talking about it. Laker fans are definitely done talking about it. So we'll worry about it when it gets to when the time comes in July. But the Lakers aren't the only team in LA that made any moves. The Clippers made quite a few, quite a few. They essentially overhauled the team. Jerry West, man, the logo added again. He clearly has a plan for the future, and just making moves. Classic Jerry West making moves. So we're saying goodbye to Tobias Harris, Mike Scott, Bradley or Avery Bradley. They're parting ways. We've waived Gortat and waived Milos, but the biggest loss of the year for the Clips and LA as a whole, we lost Boban. Big Boban energy is no more in LA, and I'm sad. I'm pretty fucking pissed, but at least he's going to a playoff contender. He's going to probably get some pretty good minutes backing up Joel Embiid on the Sixers, and I just wanted to say, Boban, I'm one of your, if not your biggest fan here in LA. It's okay that you didn't look at me or acknowledge me, even though I was the one guy screaming your name the loudest at the Clipper game against the Hawks, and I know you heard me because everyone else did, but it's okay. It's okay. I still love you. I still got big Boban energy, and I'll be rooting for you still over here, even though you're thousands of miles away. So goodbye, sweet prince. I will miss you. And but yeah, like I said, the whole roster is pretty much completely overhauled. Like I said, they got rid of those guys, bringing in Wilson Chandler, Landry Shamet, and they had Mike Muscala, but they traded him to the Clipper or to the Lakers. I guess I forgot to talk about the Lakers guys, but I'll get that after. Give me a sec. I'll get it because it wasn't anything serious anyway. But the Clippers also brought in Garrett Temple and JaMychal Green from the Grizzlies. But the biggest thing that they got was a whole bunch of draft picks, which, just classic Jerry West, just smartest guy in the room. And even though everyone knows it, a disciple of Jerry Buss, Dr. Jerry Buss, one of the top poker players when it comes to these negotiations and stuff. And like I said, Jerry West by doing everything that he did, he won. Like I said, acquired all these draft picks and assets. He's got a 2020 first rounder from the Sixers. So, that's extra, extra good stuff there. A 2021 first round pick from Miami, who seems to be stagnating, not really going anywhere. It could be either a low lottery pick or a nice middle of the pack pick. By the way, it's still a pretty good value pick. And he's got two more future second round picks, both from Detroit. So that were by way of I think one of them was from somewhere from Avery Bradley, the other one was from, I don't remember. Anyway, he got picks, got some assets, got these players who are on, guys who are I don't want to say expendable, because that's a really bad term to use when it comes to people who have actual lives and stuff to live and all that. But they are just players who are on great contracts in great situations, team-friendly situations, and they were also able to dump a couple bad contracts. Avery Bradley's contract was pretty bad once they did it, and he just wasn't performing up to the amount of money he was making. So they were glad to get him off the books. And I know a lot of people are a little upset or people are saying stuff like, "Oh, why couldn't they get Tobias Harris, he was doing so well for us. But you know what? Tobias Harris turned down the team offer that from the Clippers last summer. So that's a red flag to you that he's probably not going to re-sign. So again, just might as well get something for him. So and send him somewhere where, like I said, he'll probably be re-signed there. We're glad to let him go, or sad to see, or what is it? Hate to see you go, but I don't know. Anyway, we were willing to part ways with Tobias Harris. You know what I mean? It wasn't as sad of a departure as people might think. But on top of that, also like I said, adding back to the players that they got, smart roster construction, because the players that they got are just bad enough for them to probably not make the playoffs. And at the same time, that means it'll probably help them get the most value out of a pick, out of a draft pick. So there's that. But they're also just good enough and just interesting enough to keep the fans somewhat entertained and content. So, Wilson Chandler's pretty good. He can come in and be a playmaker right away, and kind of like a B- version of what Tobias Harris could do. Landry Shamet, a good young prospective guy. Garrett Temple, JaMychal Green, like I said, just younger guys who are probably going to be hungry for an opportunity. And then, like I said, I'll also transition to it. Other guys they got Zubac from the Lakers, which is probably who they see as their big man of the future. He's obviously very talented, played very, very well for the Lakers in the last, couple weeks, stepping in place of, JaVale McGee and Tyson Chandler when they missed some time. And they, like I said, they waived Gortat for him, it seems like. Also got Michael Beasley for a little bit. Like I said, he can probably just fill in and play a little bit. And best of luck to those guys on the Lakers guys. We're going to miss them. They're still going to be here in LA, so if you want to go watch them play, you can, for much cheaper than if you were to watch them play for the Lakers. And like I said, it's just a pretty. I mean, would you expect anything else from Jerry West, from the motherfucking logo of the league? I mean, just at it again, back at it again. Jerry West does it again. And but with the other things that the Lakers did, like I said, they traded away Zubac and Beasley to the Clips, and they added Reggie Bullocks from the Pistons in exchange for Svi and I think a second-round pick, which is whatever. The Lakers don't usually draft that well anyway later on, except for Kuzma, who's the diamond in the rough. I know, don't come at me, trust me, I know. And they also added Mike Muscala from the Clippers by way of the Sixers, and that's a good little pickup for them, stretching things out, adding some shooting. Hopefully he can add the shooting that they think he can bring to the team. So we'll look forward to him joining the team this weekend, I think. But yeah, so like I said, it wasn't just all LA that made moves. Like I said, there was a lot that happened. A lot more than in the past, but it's I really like Bill Simmons's theory about how things went down for this trade deadline season, or whatever you want to call it. Because he said that, this is the first season where almost all the players are on pretty relatively team-friendly deals. It gives the player, and player friendly as well, it gives them flexibility to if they don't like where they're at, they can go somewhere else on their own. Or, like I said, they're team-friendly because, like I said, they're on 1 to 2 year deals where they can be traded and, kind of, at little to no risk in trading away someone that you didn't like, or things maybe didn't work out the way that you thought they would with this player, and you can trade them away for someone else that you probably like, or just like, hey, we'll give this guy a shot. Maybe it's just they need to change the scenery or whatever, and it, like I said, at little to no risk, because financially at least, when, like I said, which is all that stuff is probably part of why we saw so many smaller trades between average players. I mean, there were some big moves, which I'll get to, but there was a lot more like kind of littler trades and kind of that stuff that happened. But the big trades first, a lot of movement in the East, but specifically at the top of the East. The Eastern Conference contenders really tried to beef up, and you can tell that they all had the same kind of strategy where they sensed that this might be the best opportunity for these teams to have um, any chance at making the finals, and they could smell that they could smell that opportunity, and they just went all in. Very notably with the Sixers, like I said, they did the trade with the Clippers, and they brought in Tobias Harris, Mike Scott, and Boban, but that wasn't it. They also made some other trades. They got Jonathan Simmons back from the Magic for Markelle Fultz, and side note with that, I know it's easy to make a lot of jokes about Markelle Fultz and his situation, and yes, most of them are deserved. Just his entire tenure with the Sixers has been just the literal opposite of good, and not necessarily Murphy's Law where everything that can go bad did go bad, but it's pretty damn close. And it's very like SMH and all that stuff, and I get that. But at the same time, like I said, there is a human being behind that jersey, and you just hate to see someone go through some stuff like this, because it's gonna happen. Like I said, it's mostly deserved, man. He's gonna go down in history as one of potentially the biggest NFL draft or NBA draft busts. And you hate to have that, you hate to see that, and he's still young enough to be able to try and change that narrative. So I honestly wish nothing but the best for him. Maybe this change of scenery is what he needs. I'm not really sure. But like I said, there's only one way to find out. Hopefully there's Chick-fil-A's in Orlando. I'm pretty sure there are. But yeah, like I said, just best of luck to Fultz, and like I said, hopefully he can find his jump shot again down in Orlando. But yeah, back with the Sixers and stuff, like I said. So they got Jonathan Simmons for Markelle Fultz. They also added Malachi Richardson from the Raptors and James Ennis from the Rockets. Starting up top, of course, with the big trade that happened that didn't really even happen. That happened, I think, on Monday or Tuesday. The big trade between the Clippers and the Sixers was both a good and a bad trade at the same time for the Sixers. It is good because I understand they're trying to go all in, and they're, like I said, they feel like this is the best chance that they have to make the finals and potentially even beat the Warriors, because we're probably going to be seeing the Warriors in the finals. And I understand they're trying to go all in. I completely get it. Like I said, you got to strike while the iron's hot. I get it. And Tobias Harris can really help this team. He really can. He's been playing very, very well for the Clippers. Pretty much like 20-8, and he's shooting high 30s, low 40s% from three. Just balling very well. Probably the biggest all-star snub there was. But at the same time, you can argue that they really overpaid for Tobias Harris, because, it's just like, was anyone honestly going to offer that much to him? Like that, for them to strike that fast? Because sure, they gave up the players are one thing. You can give up the players that they gave up, that's fine. But to give up their own first round pick, which I'm sure they're banking on, they're gambling on that being a lower pick anyway, because they want to go far in the playoffs. I'm sure that's part of it. But giving up that 2021 first round pick from Miami, which is probably going to be a nice pick, and another second round pick as well. Like I said, it's a lot to give up for Tobias Harris, who is getting a little up there in age. Never gonna be really one of the best guys on a team. If he's like your third or fourth option on the team, sure, that's fine. But like I said, why would you give up that much for a third or fourth option? This whole thing kind of reminds me of when free agency started. What was it? For I think 2014, whenever it was, when the Lakers got Mozgov and they signed him like that, immediately, and gave him a massive contract. And it's like, who was going to give him that money anyway? Like, why are you doing this? So there was that. Like I said, it's good that they got him. I completely understand it, but at the same time, it's like kind of overreach for him. But like I said, it just seems like it's a gamble. So we'll have to see if it pays off. The other thing is I thought that this meant that they were going to trade Butler. Obviously, things haven't gone the way that they completely wanted them to with his tenure in Philadelphia. But, I mean, he's still Jimmy Butler. He's still, when he wants to, he can still be a very, very, very good player, and he can arguably be one of the go-to guys in crunch time for them. And he has been. He's been clutch for them. He's hit like 3-game winners already for them or whatever it is. And still, like, still can play his ass off. But that doesn't mean that he won't get traded. They could probably trade him in the off. They're probably going to trade him in the offseason, it seems like, because I know they're not completely this similar. But, Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler, they're probably going to be splitting time on the floor. So like I said, we'll have to see what they do with Jimmy Butler. But I also like that they added some serviceable role players to the roster. They know what they're getting with Mike Scott, Boban, Simmons, these guys. Mike Scott, just catch and shoot guy, play a little bit of defense, knows that. Boban, obviously we know what Boban's going to do. Just go out there, you got 6 fouls to give, hold it down in the paint. Anything on offense is extra icing on the cake. Jonathan Simmons, not saying he flopped or anything or whatever, but a lot of buzz around him when he was on the Spurs. Went to go get his money. Can't fault him at that. Maybe thought he was a little bit better than he was. Didn't make it to the next level that everybody thought he was going to get to in Orlando. But they'll bring him in, and hopefully he can just be the energy defensive guy to help try to contain Kyrie, try to contain Lowry, try to do what he can against guys on the Bucks or whatever, but that's probably what they're thinking. And then same thing with Malachi Richardson, and it's just extra guys to throw out there with on some of the guards, the better guards in the East. So yeah, like I said, Sixers going all in this year, but they're not the only ones who went all in. Both the Raptors and the Bucks going like big trades, specifically with the Raptors, trading for Marc Gasol. They got rid of Jonas Valanciunas, DeLon Wright, CJ Miles. Three good players. I really like DeLon Wright. CJ Miles has been a serviceable NBA guy for years now, and Valanciunas is a borderline all-star. It's very talented offensive talent. But I see why they did it. I see why they did what they did. I know a lot of people are thinking they might have given up a little too much, especially with getting rid of DeLon Wright, because he's a young guy that I know a lot of fans like there. Same thing with Valanciunas, was a fan favorite over there. Can easily put up 20 and 10 on any given night. But I mean, it's Marc Gasol, and yes, he has been a little bit waning in the last few weeks or so with the Grizzlies. Yes, he's coming off of injury from last year. But just a guy they're essentially renting him for the rest of the season, trying to convince him to stay, trying to get the most out of him. Marc Gasol he's just one of those guys who's been around enough, made enough money, and it's probably they're selling him. Listen, man, come try to win a title with us. At least make some noise in the playoffs, because playoffs Marc Gasol is really damn good. And they're gonna try to convince him to stick around. I know that. And they're also probably going to use him to probably try and convince Kawhi to stick around. You know what I mean? So, and it's not just off the floor stuff like that and negotiation kind of tactics for him, but, we all know what we're going to get from Marc Gasol on the floor. He's a tremendous, tremendous defensive talent. He'll really hold down the post defense for a lot more Eastern Conference big men than you think. Obviously, this one they're probably going to try to use him. They brought him in for Embiid. They're looking that it's going to be either the Bucks or the Bucks, the Celtics, or the Sixers are going to be in their way. All who have pretty good big men. Obviously, Joel Embiid on the Sixers. You got Baines, Horford with the Celtics. Those guys have seen each other plenty of times over the years. And then the Bucks, maybe have him and try to just hold down the paint, anchor the paint when Giannis tries to come through. Even with guys like Brook Lopez, who, even though they've stretched their game out, still have a lot of good moves down low as well. And not just the top teams, but the other guys who are trying to make some noise in the East as well. Jared Allen on the Nets. You've got, what's his name? What's the guy's name on the Hawks? Shit, hang on, I'm looking up this John Collins, whatever, on the Hawks. You know what I mean? So just a great pickup for the Raptors, and we'll just, like I said, hopefully him going from the Grizzlies to the Raptors is that little shot in the butt kind of thing that he needs to, like, give him a little extra motivation to get back on track and play like the Marcus Gasol that we know he can play like. Because they're going to go to the playoffs. They're going to be a top seed. And like I said, they're going to want to make some noise. And like I said, Marcus Gasol is a great pickup. And I would say that this was the best trade of the trade deadline. However, I'm going to have to give that title to the Milwaukee Bucks for somehow turning Stanley Johnson, Jason Smith, and whatever draft picks into Nikola Tricola Mirotic, who is like the perfect player that they need right now. And he instantly makes the Bucks so much better. They're already the best team in basketball right now. And he just makes them so much better. He obviously adds perimeter shooting. We all know that. And the benefit of that comes with that is the floor spacing for Giannis. It makes so much sense, and it's so perfect that I can't even. This is the best trade of the deadline, biggest steal of the trade deadline, and honestly one of the better trades that we've seen in a while. Like I said, they just really, I can't stress how good of a move this is. Like, it's just, he fits what they need so well. And like I said, the Bucks are already the best team in basketball. They just got way better. And shout out to Mike Budenholzer for really, really just putting in some goddamn work and making the Bucks a real team to reckon with. And yeah, they just got so much better, but all the top teams in the East got better. I know people are saying, why didn't the Celtics do anything? And like I said, they're probably just gonna hold out. They don't want to. They already have not chemistry issues, but they're trying to figure things out as it is already with staggering the lineups, who to play where, when, all that good stuff. So don't want to throw any more monkey wrenches into that by adding new players and having to essentially start over. And besides, I'm sure that they probably think that they're probably going to be the Anthony Davis sweepstakes now, and they might want to save those for the summer and stuff like that. So, but the East, man, it really got a lot more interesting over the past 48 to 72 hours, and yeah, it's as much movement that happened in the East. It seems as though all's quiet on the Western Front. Because aside from really just a couple of teams, not a whole lot of noise was made from the top teams in the West. Other than the Rockets and the Blazers and obviously the Mavs with the Porzingis trade, no significant moves really for the Nuggets, the Thunder, the Jazz, even the Spurs. I'll throw them in there. I already talked about the Lakers and the Clippers, but the Rockets really only got Iman Shumpert. They also had, for a second, they had Stauskas and Wayne Baldwin, but they traded them away to the Pacers. But they, essentially turned James Ennis, or they got a better version of James Ennis in Shumpert. just trying to add to the role players that they can put around James Harden, at least for the playoffs. Trying to, because he'll play some defense. Anything from him is on offense again is extra. Blazers, early on had one of the first moves of the trade deadline, getting Rodney Hood. You know, Not that I don't think it's a great move, but I don't think it's necessarily bad either. I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh wow, good pickup for them," but it's like, I guess, sure. I mean, Rodney Hood hasn't done shit on the Cavs. He hasn't really done anything since his second to last season with the Jazz. So I guess, it's just extra depth, extra shooting, I guess, for the playoffs. They also added Scalabisse from the Kings, but sure, I get, go ahead, I guess, to back up for Nurkic. They got rid of, like I said, Stauskas and Wayne Baldwin, like I said earlier. Sure, I guess with that, like I said, obviously the Porzingis trade with the Mavs, which, I've talked enough about it, but man, it just looks dumber and dumber by the day. But the Mavericks, traded away Harrison Barnes, traded him to the Kings, got Justin Jackson in return, and also they got Zebo, but I don't think he's going to be around for very much longer. And like I said, it's just, I think the teams in the West kind of know that, they know. I think once Boogie came back and they saw how well that the Warriors have been playing, they just lost like an 11-game win streak or something, or they just had it snapped by the Phillies. The Phillies, by the Sixers. I guess they just realized, like, damn, I guess this isn't our year. It's gonna be the next year. So why waste or mess around? Really. Other than, like I said, mostly small trades from around the league, really. It's just, it like I said, a lot happened without a whole lot of other stuff happening. The Suns and the Heat had a trade. The Heat got Ryan Anderson. Suns got Tyler Johnson and Wayne Ellington. And like I said, it's just one of those, I guess, sure thing. And I'm not gonna make the joke that everyone's making, saying that the Suns needed a point guard, made this trade, and that they still need a point guard because they got Tyler Johnson and Wayne Ellington, but they still need a point guard. Other trades. Part of the I think was it the James Ennis? No, was it the Rodney Hood trade or whatever? I don't remember. But then, like, part of that, Brandon Knight, Marquise Chris went to the Cavs. And then Sacramento got Alec Burks back, and then it was like part of that stuff. So there's that. Like I said, nothing really going on there. Pelicans also made some more moves with Marquise Chris. They got Marquise Morris. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. Pelicans got Marquise Morris in a 2023 second round pick from the Wizards, who are definitely cleaning house, definitely blowing it up. Shout out to Kevin O'Connor and the Ringer, definitely blowing it up. Do that. What else? They just got, they're really just that John Wall contract will go down in history as one of the worst ever, and this is the first step of why. They're just going to be completely crippled by that deal. He's owed more than $40 million every single year for the next 4 years now. And like I said, they got to start over. They really have to start over. Doing it now, like I said, they're cleaning house. Got rid of Markieff Morris, who I think is dealing with some injuries, and they would have had to pay him after the season, I think. And they got Wesley Johnson, who is just gonna be there and just a guy. They also had a trade. They had to get Otto Porter off the books, so they made a trade with Chicago Bulls. So they had to get his bad contract off the books as well. Speaking of that trade, someone on Twitter, shout out to who it was, I can't remember who it was, said something along the lines of, this trade said that the Bulls did the math, and Bobby Portis plus Jabari Parker, who they got in this trade, equals Otto Porter, so this trade makes sense. And something along those lines. I've been cracking up at that ever since. Great joke, whoever you were out there. And it's like I said, that's really it. Just, a lot of little moves here and there. And that was the 2019 trade deadline. You know, like I said, the East teams on top in the East just got stronger. LA teams, a lot going on. One looking a little bit more optimistic than the other. And, it might surprise you that the Clippers are a little more optimistic looking. Their Clippers future looks a little more optimistic than the Lakers does. And I know that sounds absurd to say, considering that the Lakers have LeBron James. But just given all of everything that they went through for these last couple weeks to end up with nothing and other than a bunch of unhappy fans, some probably unhappy teammates, and some very defeated front office members. Like I said, this is gonna be a very, very, very interesting second half of the season coming up. So that's gonna do it for me today. I will leave it at that. I will be back next week talking All-Star stuff. So stay tuned for that. But like always, thank you guys so much for listening. It was a long one. I kind of winded myself through a little bit. I gotta take a couple sips of the good old-fashioned H2O. And like always, if you like what you heard, make sure you subscribe, like, share, comment, all that other YouTuber bullshit. And like I said, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts: iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, all the other weird ones that are out there. I've seen them out there. They're there somehow. Subscribe. Follow along on all the socials: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr. Don't forget the YouTube thing. Follow along. Brown Mamba Radio, Brown Mamba, or my personal stuff, JXCKSXNNN. That's 3 N's. And like I said before, still working on it. BrownMamba.us is under construction. So stay tuned for that. But that was, like I said, it was a good one today. Long one, I know, but like I said, we made it. It's all right. And like I said, we made it through the week. We survived the trade deadline, and all we have is All-Star Weekend to look forward to. So like I said, stay tuned for all of how I think that will go next week. So again, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for showing love. Thank you for supporting. I really appreciate it. Big love to all you guys out there. And girls. Don't think I'm forgetting about you too, ladies. Big love to everyone out there. And hopefully you guys all enjoy your weekend. But don't just have a good weekend. Make it a good weekend. Please drink more water. Your health is wealth. Please be kind to each other. Please. Because it's so easy to be nice. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.